open on flashback to Asgard, where a child Loki is arrested as a variant by Minutamen, who set off a reset charge, which prunes the child's toy. The child is brought before the TVA and processed in the same way Loki was. In trial, the child steals the hunter's tempad and escapes into a panel. The hunter is revealed to be Ravonna Renslayer. She is next seen entering the room of the Timekeepers. Ravonna meets Mobius, and the two discuss the situation. The variant Sylvie was at the elevator to the Timekeepers along with the Loki variant. Mobius was allowed to bring our Loki. Mobius asks to speak with C20. Since she was enchanted by Sylvie in episode 2, Ravonna tells him that C20 is dead. She then asks him to keep it between them. She tasks him with finding the rest of the variants. On Lamentis Eye, Sylvie sits in preparation for her doom as Loki slowly approaches her. Loki apologizes to Sylvie. She tells him about her memories of Asgard. Sylvie claims that her birth as the goddess of mischief was enough to cause the TVA to arrest her. She claims to have stolen a tempad and run before she could face trial, and has been running ever since. At the TVA, Mobius and Hunter B-15 discuss the situation as they track the variants. B-15 asks about C-20, but Mobius claims ignorance. On Lamentis Eye, Loki and Sylvie discuss their existence. Loki tells her that they may lose, but they survive. As the planet comes to its end, B-15 is able to isolate their location in the sacred timeline, approaching the red line rapidly. 2 panels appear on Lamentis Eye. Loki and Sylvie walk through them back to the TVA, where they are immediately arrested. Mobius scolds Loki for betraying him before sending him through a red prison panel. Loki is approached by Sif, who attacks him in what Loki identifies as a bad memory prison. Sif comes in again and repeats the same scene without Loki's good memory of what he did after. Loki now identifies the prison as a time loop. Loki attempts to reconcile with his memory, but she again attacks him. Loki meets with Ravonna and asks to interrogate the other variant. The judge outright refuses and claims that no one speaks with the variant. She orders him to work his Loki. B-15 asks Mobius if Loki said anything to him before being put in the time loop. He tells her that Loki said the TVA was lying to him. She expresses concern and says she was just asking. Loki continues his loop with Sif. He makes an honest effort to empathize with Sif's pain that he caused and explains his selfish reasons. Sif helps to him feat without violence, but still tells him off before leaving him alone once again. Mobius then enters and asks Loki if he is ready to talk. In the interrogation room, Loki comments on his relationship with Mobius as a similar loop to his recent prison. Mobius gives Loki a chance to explain how the TVA is lying to him, but Loki only offers to let him out first. Now dismissing the claim, Mobius moves on to ask Loki how long he has been working for the variant. Loki scoffs at the question and honestly describes her character. Mobius asks Loki what caused the Nexus event on Lamentis Eye. Loki refuses to comply, considering that he would be pruned after cooperating. Mobius gets up and reactivates the tempad to the time loop. Loki tells Mobius that once their plan is complete, he will dispose of her. The Nexus event was caused by 2 Loki variants being attracted to one another. Loki demands to know if Sylvie is alive, and Mobius concedes for now after an argument. Loki finally explains to Mobius that everyone at the TVA is a variant kidnapped by the Timekeepers. He tells Mobius that Sylvie can use her enchantment to recall their memories that were erased by the Timekeepers. Mobius doesn't believe him and brings in 2 Minupimen to take Loki away. In the hallway, B-15 stands alone with a conflicted look on her face. She prepares to prune Sylvie in her cell. She takes Sylvie through a time panel. Ravonna signs off on Mobius' case report on Loki. Ravonna tries to talk to Mobius, but he asks why he wasn't allowed to interrogate Sylvie. She tells him that they can't risk her escaping, as Loki did under his first interrogate. Ravonna tells Mobius that the Timekeepers want to personally witness the pruning of the variant, with him present. Mobius asks her when she first noticed what was going on with C20. Ravonna attempts to deflect the question, but Mobius presses on. She tells him that the truth is that she was protecting Mobius. She didn't want him losing his mind the way C20 did. As she goes to place a sword on her trophy wall, Mobius switches their tempads while her back is turned. Mobius thanks her for the drinks and leaves the office. At the Roxcart store, B-15 emerges with Sylvie. B-15 asks Sylvie how she was able to create the illusion when she was under enchantment. Sylvie dispels B-15's identity as a creation of the Timekeepers. She tells B-15 that they are all variants and willingly lets Sylvie enchant her. She sees her memories and cries, remembering how happy she once was. With her memories fully intact, B-15 asks what now. At the TVA, Mobius finds a quiet part of the library to review Ravona's tempad. It confirms the death of C-20. He reviews her interrogation where she identifies herself and everyone at the TVA as variants. Ravona interrupts and ends the interrogation. Loki is back in his time cell but is approached by Mobius. Mobius demands to know if Loki truly wants to be alone or if he wants to be with Sylvie, because that nexus event could destroy everything. Mobius agrees that Loki and Sylvie were right about the TVA. The two leave the prison and arrive to an ambush by Ravona and several Minutemen. She immediately relinquishes her tempad. Ravona orders Mobius be pruned. Loki looks on in horror. He is escorted out to the elevator to the timekeepers. Ravona enters Sylvie's cell and immediately demands to know who was with her. The Minuteman outside the door tells her B-15 insisted. Sylvie arrives with Loki at the golden elevator. Ravona dismisses the Minuteman and takes the two herself. On their way up, Sylvie asks Ravona what her nexus event was that caused her to be arrested as a child. Ravona tells her she does not remember. The three arrive at the hall of the timekeepers. Loki and Sylvie engage the timekeepers in conversation before their deletion is ordered. B-15 interrupts the execution, and the three fight Ravona and the Minuteman. Sylvie and Ravona face off as Loki gets closer to the timekeepers. Sylvie and Loki emerge victorious. As one timekeeper attempts to reason with Sylvie, she throws a staff at it, knocking off its robotic head. The other timekeeper robots laugh. Realizing that the timekeepers are mindless androids, Loki and Sylvie are now perplexed as to how the TVA was created. Loki tries to explain his feelings for Sylvie to her, but is pruned by Ravona. Sylvie easily overpowers her. Mid-credit scene, Loki wakes up in a field and asks if he is in hell. He is told by a voice that he will be unless he goes with variant Loki, Thor, and Heimdall.